This video is sponsored by the Sexy Brutale.
Zarya is one of the best support tanks in Overwatch and a menacing force on the battlefield. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to dominate with Zarya and deal with the threats that come your way.
I am the strongest woman in the world.
Our Russian bodybuilder uses a combination of a particle weapon and shields to defend her homeland and win the day for her team. She is armed with a heavy particle cannon that fires a damaging beam that can cut down enemies in its path. It streams variable damage with a base rate of 75 per second. If enemies are grouped in a small area or outside her beam's range, she can also use alternate fire to spread AoE damage. It lobs an explosive charge that deals variable damage as well, starting at 45 DPS and flies in an arc in any direction. Each shot takes 25 ammo, however it can still be fired with less than that left in the magazine. Upon landing, it will also deal a small amount of knockback to alter enemy positioning. Zarya can boost both her toughness and damage in a single move. Activating the particle barrier will encase her in an energy bubble that is sturdy enough to absorb 200 damage in the last 2 seconds. Any damage absorbed by the bubble gets automatically converted into energy for her awesome cannon. Her weapon's reticule has an energy meter that rises whenever this occurs, indicating added damage. While damage is being done to the particle barrier, the cannon's beam also gets added thickness and in turn an increased hitbox, making it even easier to melt targets. Go for Winston, D.Va, and Genji as they cannot outdamage, absorb, or deflect the beam respectively. She can also use a similar skill to offer team support in the form of a projected barrier. Activating it on a teammate grants them a 2-second 200 health bubble as well. Damage applied to the projected barrier also gets absorbed into her cannon, each providing up to 40 energy maximum. The cooldown for the projected barrier is slightly shorter than her own bubble, so always be on the lookout for opportunities. The damage applied to both bubbles affect both the beam and the explosive charge. Both bubbles also protect targets from stuns and freezes. At maximum, the beam shreds at a whopping 150 DPS and the explosive charge deals 95. Keeping energy up is a main focus while maintaining the health bars of everyone protected. Zarya herself has a middling 400 health, but half of it is recoverable shield energy. 3 seconds after taking no damage, her shields will start to recover, indicated by the blue energy on her health bar. The two barriers can also be used to protect against infinite single strike damage. As an example, D.Va's self-destruct ultimate deals 1000 damage. However, if timed correctly, the particle and projected barriers will take all of the damage even though the bubbles themselves offer only 200 health. Speaking of ultimates, Zarya's Graviton Surge is one of the best crowd control abilities in the game. Lobbing the surge will pull in all enemies in the area, dealing a little damage. The 4-second duration will allow her and her team to eviscerate her enemies affected and turn the tide of battle.
You have failed your team.
Alexandra Zaryanova grew up in a devastated region caused by the Omnic crisis, and as such she has a few weaknesses. Mobility is generally an issue that affects much of what she does, considering she has no movement abilities and her beam is short range. This hampers her ability to get to health packs or escape from a bad position. As she is a tank with 0 armor and only 400 health, timing her bubbles is truly crucial. The cooldowns can feel very long when trying to tank for your team. All of these add up to requiring healing support in order to survive. Not all crowd control is negated with the shields. Attacks that physically pierce the barrier, such as Reinhardt's charge or being punched from Winston's ultimate, work the same as normal. But anything that's a ranged attack like Pharah's or Lucio's knockbacks will not push her away. Zarya needs to avoid high burst damage characters. Pharah in particular can be quite the nuisance, as much of the time she'll be out of range and difficult to hit even with explosive charges. Stay wary of Bastion and snipers and bubble your flankers to take care of them instead. The particle cannon loses energy at a rate of 2% a second. Monitoring cooldowns and learning the best timing and situations to activate the bubbles will help maintain the damage. Note that neither her beam nor explosive charges have headshot multiplier damage. Combat awareness is a fairly high requirement for her success compared to other tanks. Duel with your team's healer and learn to basically babysit each other for survival.
Onwards to victory!
We have a few tips for the world's strongest woman. It is possible to bomb jump with explosive charges. Firing at your feet while in the air can be used to cross small gaps or reach higher areas. Note that the damage Zarya takes upon herself is also affected by cannon energy. You cannot, however, give yourself energy by shielding and bombing the ground. Look for opportunities to maximize bubble effectiveness. A friendly Genji causing ruckus on the front lines is a perfect target for a barrier. It can be applied to Reinhardt, who is blocking damage with his shield, and still increase your energy as well. Protect your Pharah, who is dealing the barrage ultimate, and so on. It's also a great tool to counter enemy ultimates that deal all of their damage in a single strike. Tracer's Pulse Bomb, McCree's Deadeye, or Junkrat's Tire are great examples. While at full health, let an enemy start damaging you before applying a personal bubble. Opposing players will not be aware that you have one ready and will very likely try to continue damaging you, adding to your energy. It may be best to consider her as a secondary support tank. Her excellent damage output is key to her own survival, and shielding teammates at the right moments could spell success. Like Ana, Zarya is one of the very few Overwatch characters that has both a hit scan and projectile weapon option, and it may take some practice to get used to both. Graviton Surge is one of the best setup tools for team wipes. A player should always be very vocal regarding Zarya's ultimate charge and keep an eye on the team screen. Great ultimate combos typically revolve around her surge, so make sure to have a fully reloaded cannon before letting it loose, then spam AoE charges. Be careful when using your ultimate around D.Va or Genji, as they can either remove or deflect the projectile. If you do want to use it around one of these heroes, either watch for their skills to be on cooldown or get in close and shoot it at your own feet to reduce the distance it has to travel. Winning with Zarya always makes me beam with pride and bubble with happiness, but for now I want to hear your tips for our hero in the comments below. This has been Jason for Cursing. Thanks for watching and enjoy the game.
I want to hug you like big, fuzzy Siberian bear.
Oh, scary.
Brought to you by the Sexy Brutale, a never-ending masked ball featuring intrigue, murder, and quite possibly the occult.